welcome to the Gaia update for October 2015. I'm Adrienne Elise. Well, really powerful energy this month as Mercury goes direct on the 9th of October. And then just a few days after, we have a new moon in Libra. Mercury's retrograde was in Libra on the 12th. And that is the completion of the eclipse cycle. The last eclipse was on a full moon, and so it's not until the new moon after that really that's a completion of the eclipse cycle. So when we have Mercury direct and also that new moon, we're going to be feeling some really different energy. And what is this energy going to be about? It's about the changes in our life that are really wanting and needing to happen to readjust to the internal work we've been doing. This is Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto in Capricorn has been squaring up with Uranus and Aries over these last 3-4 years, and these planets just separated out. Now when these planets came together in the 60s, the changes attributed from these planets didn't come until after they came out of their exact conjunction. And so now that the planets have been moving out of the square, we start to see what this is all about. Now Pluto is the destroyer and dissolver there in the sign of our structures, and Pluto is having its first forward motion since it went retrograde just at the end of the eclipse cycle in April. And so this whole year has been kind of a mysterious journey that we've been on as we are waiting to see what happens and what unfolds in these structural changes that the planets are demanding. Now, what do these have to do in relation to Uranus and Aries? Aries is the sign of the self and the personality, and Uranus is lightning fast change and revolution. And so we are being asked on an individual level in Aries to break down the truth of who we are, who we thought we were, and our lives need to adjust to these changes. And so this Pluto going direct has been harmonized, not so big and bumpy because we've had this Mercury retrograde, but because the Mercury retrograde came on the heels of the Venus retrograde that started way back at the end of June, this whole last 4-month period has been kind of a weird, strange feeling of being suspended in time. And suspended in time while being asked to evaluate and put on the table a lot of core issues, bringing up a lot of feelings of vulnerability with that Venus retrograde. Now, Venus is the ruler of Libra. So Libra's Mercury's retrograde in Libra is just been a continuation of that energy, and we've been in this very strange suspended state. And now the energy is going to shift, and it's going to shift in a big way. And so the end of the year of 2015 is really about beginning to instigate the changes that need to happen to support the truth of who we really are as individuals. But guess what? We don't even know who we are as individuals because the changes and shifting is happening so fast. That's that Uranus and Aries. And so it's hard to figure out what you really want to do and how to move forward when you don't even know who you are. And that's what the information we've been gathering from these eclipse cycles of this year. The Mercury retrograde in Aquarius we had earlier in the year, and now in Libra opposing Uranus in Aries, and with a Libra new moon. So the sun and the moon are both opposing that Uranus and Aries, saying, what does this mean? Who are we really? And how are we going to go about creating a world that's going to better support who we really are? Now, the structures of our world, banking, money, energy systems, health, social structures, political structures, obviously have been more of a limiting force in the evolvement of the evolution of our consciousness. And that is what needs to change. These next couple of years are key years for dramatic changes to happen on the planet to better accommodate the truth of who we are, humanity. But that starts with that Uranus and Aries in each of us individually first. And so that's what we're going through. This Mercury retrograde is saying, what do we need to do to accommodate these changes? Being in Libra, it's about relationships, that opposing force of that individual spark of the Aries, I want to do it my way. And Libra's like, how do we work together to get it done? How do we find the justice? How do we forgive? How do we heal? How do we move forward? And that Venus retrograde brought it all up to the surface. Venus in Leo wants us to really explore what really makes us happy, what really is going to move us forward. And we've just been having a massive ongoing activation in this ongoing changing truth. So this brings me to the next energy. We've had all this cardinal cross the last couple years with Pluto and Uranus, and now we're moving into some more mutable energy. This month we have both. We have some mutable squaring energy. We have some mutable cross energy that's going to be kind of flavoring the whole next year of 2016 with Saturn in Sagittarius and Jupiter in Virgo. And so the mutable energy is kind of saying, the cardinal energy is about starting, instigating, let's go, let's have an idea, let's put it into action. The mutable energy is about adjusting to the changes along the way. So this mutable energy is absolutely crucial as we seek out the truth and clean up what is real with that Jupiter, the spiritual seeking Jupiter in the sign of Virgo. And we are also then seeking out our truth as far as our karmic, who we are as karmic beings, with Saturn, our work duty planet, in the sign of seeking Sagittarius. And so these mutable signs are allowing us to adjust to these changes of who we really are and what we really want, and be able to begin to build structures, but structures that can be flexible, structures of the new age that can move and change along with us. And what does that mean in our relationships is really what the whole key comes back to with this new moon in Libra happening on the 12th. And so the energy here is around the spark of the individual and the needs of the individual self to express itself in its truth. And how do we support ourselves in relationships? What are our relationships? How do our relationships need to adjust to support that truth of who we really are? How do we work together to build a new world? So great energy. There is some powerful planetary aspects happening with Venus and Mars this month. Our personal planets are really triggering. They're trining up with Pluto, and that is a beautiful energy to harmonize this Pluto direct, these changes that want to happen, the breakdown, the disillusion that Pluto wants to bring into the structures of our life, and bringing these to the truth of our individual process, and the male and the female part of ourselves, and looking at all the core issues that have been coming up. This whole year has been about the archetypes of the male and female within us, and the rebirth of the goddess. How do we support that? What does it mean in the divine masculine energy to hold a container for the divine goddess to return to the planet? Now, this is culminating on November 1st with this Venus and Mars conjunction, but that's only after they dance through this dance of aspects with all of these planets squaring Saturn, opposing Neptune, bringing us into a reality around our illusions and what we've thought to be true about our painful past. Also, that's in opposition with Chiron later, the wounded healer, later in the month. So we're looking at the wounds of our past and the pain that we hold on to, and how that's interfering with our evolution and the creating of these new structures, but also trining up with that Pluto and coming together with Jupiter. So what a beautiful, powerful energy, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter together, and that's happening in the second part. We're going to be feeling that the whole second part of October. Just an incredible lining up, saying, okay, yeah, we have to make some changes. We need dramatic shifting in who we are in our identity, dropping the ego of the self and embracing our divinity. We need to change the structures on the planet to support the truth of us as divine beings, as an expression of the creative force, no longer a slave race. And so these personal planets are dancing through all of these very powerful aspects, and then coming together at the end of the month. And we'll be feeling that for about a week as we end the battle of the sexes. It's a huge opportunity to step on a brand new timeline, a whole new reality in your life at the end of this month. Venus and Mars coming together, a peaceful union of the divine feminine, the divine masculine within you is available. So jump on that train. I hope you join me. I look forward to connecting with you next month. Thank you so much. I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.